What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are finally diving into Tomino's classic story, Gaia Gear. This was originally published in New Type magazine and is set in Universal Century 203, though this seems to be now set in its own timeline like Thunderbolt. You will consume G-Saver and you will like it, damn it. This story follows a young man, Afranchi Shar, as he leaves his remote island and learns about the truth of his past. So let's get into this. A man looks up at the stars. This man is Afranchi Shar. He is 19 years old. Most of what he knows is due to the elder known as Gabasu. As he looks up at the stars this night, there doesn't seem to be any cloud coverage. He feels a sense of ambiguity of the self. The young man mentions that something feels like it is locked in the deep recesses of his memory chips. He is still amazed that he is seeing stars as Earth's atmosphere has become plagued with pollution. They grew brighter and he thought his visual sensors were malfunctioning. No. What he is seeing is everything. The people, the stars, and the life around him. Outer space is full of people. He hears someone call his name. He notes that you really gotta put some spice on it when you say Shar. Shah. He swims out to a girl on a paddleboard in the ocean. Her name is Everly Key. Afranchi Shar calls her Ava. As he swims after her, Tomino goes into detail about her butt, feet, and ankles. Tomino is putting Tarantino to shame. After Afranchi chases after her for a while, the two embrace. Carrie Haw calls out to Afranchi as a storm begins to brew on the island. They run into a cabin that looks like it is made out of wood, but it is all plastic. They say that plastic won't deteriorate for years. He thinks if they can condense time into mere moments, perhaps they could stretch time to last forever. These are thoughts Afranchi had as a kid, but not much anymore. Inside was Gabasu, the elder. This was the person who raised Afranchi. Everly comes into the room. The elders look on as Afranchi gets close to Gabasu. He says that he raised him, but he knows nothing of his origins. He is meant to be in outer space. After the storm passed, Gabasu too passed away. The new elder woman tells Afranchi that Gaba had many children, but they all left to meddle in machine. He too must leave for the stars. But all Afranchi knows is this island. Everly doesn't want Afranchi to go. She runs away, but he really hasn't made up his mind yet. He wonders why he is chasing after her. He knows he is going to go to space. But he could also see living a life with Everly, growing and selling coconuts. He hates that people are making decisions for him. The young man catches up and tells her that he has to go into space. He saw something strange in the stars and he must go. As he comforts Everly, the waves come crashing into the shore. They see a giant shadow which belongs to a mysterious machine. Afranchi goes to investigate. He feels the whole of the surface. It was slippery as though it was at the bottom of the ocean for ages. He pushes something on the outside and a hatch opens up. By now, Afranchi is describing the machine. He has never seen complex machinery, let alone software. Dude is out here picking coconuts for most of his life. The cockpit is flooded with water, but he finds a book made of plastic. He sees the words mobile machine and wonders if this is some sort of manual. While in the machine, something comes barreling down, causing a fire. Afranchi tells Everly that he is going to investigate. Everly says, "What? That was really loud. I can't hear anything." In a moment of chaos, Tomino spends a good portion of this chapter once again focusing on Everly's body in the water. However, this time it serves a story purpose. Everly wants him to love her and stay by his side, but he is compelled by the machine, both literally and metaphorically. Although he has no memories of this man-machine, there is a familiarity and comfort he gets from it. He says he can't love her until he answers this call. Everly gets naked and yells at the machine trying to take her man. Okay. Afranchi says that he must go into space because they were the dying words of Gabasu. But he knows in his heart that this is a lie and Everly can see through him. He decides to stay with her. For now. Despite some who disagreed, Afranchi stayed with Everly and the two became husband and wife. As the two continue living on the island, the machine continues pushing out to sea, just sitting there, teasing him. He decides to go check on the coconuts. This is his version of going out for a pack of cigarettes. He takes off in a canoe. The storm grows stronger. He flips the canoe to protect himself, but he ends up getting knocked around in the heavy waves. He hopes Gava is watching over him, but neither he nor Everlyn can help now that he is on his journey of self-discovery. Everlyn cries alone in her hut that night. He only has a few coconuts that he brought for sustenance. He cracks open a coconut and drinks its juices. As he eats, he hears a ticking in his mind, which he heard a few times in the past. These ticks are moments of clarity of a former life that tick into place, so to speak. He looks up at the shining lights of the night sky. The young man realizes these are the lights of colonies in space. He says that there are no seas up there. A world without seas don't sit right with him. Gaba told stories of his journeys throughout the neighboring colonies. From here, he could find a ship for Hong Kong. After his long travels, he finally found civilization. He docks and tries to find a place to camp. There are many giant boats in the surrounding area. The streetlight drew him towards the cities. There, he found a bar where Gaba once took him, I assume. He just says he's been there before. He enters and asks the bartender if they have any food. The barkeep drops some peanuts in front of him. He then orders a drink with the least amount of alcohol in it. He gives him something and tells him to chase it with water. An old man asks what this unusual boy's name is. He says Afranchi. It reminds him of Afranchi Shah. He doesn't respond. The man continues trying to talk to Afranchi, who brushes him off. He says his name is Truth Stronger. He then calls him the Liberating Shah. Truth says that he was brought up to shoulder the burdens of the white man, and then disappears in the shadows. That's ominous. They head to his place, where they find floppy disks and books throughout the room. He turns on the lights and grabs a bottle of liquor. Afranchi is mesmerized by a light bulb. This is a weird chapter where a dude keeps saying you don't understand what it is like being a white man. Afranchi goes, I don't. I'm an island boy. Please explain. And then the guy going, ha, you don't understand. He then explains that one can find the self through the subconscious. After that, the man passes out in a drunken stupor. Afranchi wakes up the next morning to find the drunk gone. He washes his face and thinks of Everly. The man has a timetable for a ship leaving for Hong Kong. Nothing seems to be scheduled for today, unfortunately. The drunken man comes back to the house after catching a fish. Truth agrees he could stay here again if he cleans his room. He agrees and begins organizing the books all over the room. Books range from languages to the history of migration up to Neo-Zeon. As he cleans the place, day becomes night, and the two have dinner, during which they get on the topic of space colonies. He mentions that 12 billion seems to be the max population before civilization implodes on itself. He also mentions Afranchi comes from the Franks, meaning freed slave. He says that God placed other ethnicities in this world to challenge white people and spread the seed of conflict. If they exist for that purpose, they are both adversaries and potential allies for white people. Only by mastering and defeating them can white people become true masters of the world. He also mentions that most of the people on these islands weren't forced to migrate like most of the world. He says that this white nationalism, in this case I guess it would be white globalism, is an extension to contolism. While people try to create a new race in space, the whites can enjoy their home that is Mother Earth. In this case, people gladly allowed for contolism and spacefaring life to spread because God proclaimed Earth for white people. He also mentions that he doesn't necessarily believe this. It is just something that he reads in his journeys. But he also doesn't disagree with it outright like Afranchi is doing. Also, I don't think YouTube's gonna like me talking about this. I'm playing with fire here. The next day, he went to the ferry to catch a boat to Hong Kong. Before departing, Truth explains that much of the world's oppression comes from the human subconscious, which is vague and not helpful. But then Afranchi hears his name. Behind him is Everly. She runs towards Afranchi, but that is when Truth smacks a bitch and calls her a vile woman. Everly is a brown-skinned island girl. Maybe he is a racist white nationalist. He tells Everly that he is a friend and these 2 days have been enlightening, but he must now depart. Well, that was awkward. Thanks for the wise racist wisdom. Everly wonders if he could come with Afranchi, and he says, nah. Well, at the pier, he runs into an old friend named Carrie Howe. He asks his friend to get Everly back home safely. She wonders if he will ever return. Afranchi says that he will return for her once he figures this all out. Everly says then she will wait patiently, and she gives him a hug. He gets on the boat and departs from his friend and fiancé. He sleeps once he boards the ship. However, he wakes up hours later to a hijacking. He hears a bang. There is a cruiser in front of them. They threaten to kill a hostage. The hostage happens to be Everly. He puts a gun to her head. Afranchi heads towards the bridge and says that this is his fiancé. The men go, oh, well then we're just gonna have her way with her in front of you instead of killing her. That will be fun. Afranchi tries to make his way towards Everly. The leader has a compact machine gun. He goes up to the radio operator and strikes him with his gun. Afranchi wonders if they want anything from him. The hijackers hit him next with the butt of a rifle. He is able to see the attack before it happens. He deflects the attack but still falls over. His mind was functioning at 100%. He gets up and waits for an open. The man turns his back, which is the perfect opportunity. He lunges at the man and takes his gun, instantly shooting the guy with the machine gun. He then grabs the machine gun and Everly. Other civilians then join in and pounce on the hijackers. The remaining men surrender. Some wonder if he works for the military with those skills. But this all just came to him. Unfortunately, the Federation most likely won't do anything about the hijackers. They just tell him to bring them to Hong Kong. He says that until they get to Hong Kong, he and Everly are VIPs on this boat. He says, isn't this another form of discrimination? The captain says, no dude, people usually just call this courtesy. The captain believes courtesy is what sets humans apart from animals. Before leaving, he goes to see the hijackers. He asks if Truth Stronger paid them to do this. The hijacker, who is named Mikkel, says that Truth wanted them to kill Afranshi, but them taking Everly was a coincidence. She just seemed like a genuinely nice person and easy to manipulate. The hijackers tease the two of them for being kind of oblivious to the world. Afranshi doesn't understand the concept of trolling. The hijackers tease him, saying, yeah, your girl is a slut. Afranshi doesn't know what bait is. He takes a swing at Mikhail when he hears that ticking once again in his head. They apparently knocked out Carrie Howe and took Everly, though they work with Truth, who is a racist. Their concern is more with the fight between Earth and the Spacenoids. They were planning on blowing up a spaceport in Hong Kong. He wonders if he could trust these people, but he says he will cut them if they try anything weird. Mikhail says to refer to them as the Hong Kong Mafia. One of the crew members says that the Hong Kong Mafia are always trying to exploit the Hong Kong government because insurance companies will always pay out. Afranshi, being from the islands, doesn't really understand this. We get a page of the bathroom overflowing, which is supposed to show another moment where Afranshi doesn't understand the hustle and bustle of modern life. But it's funny because he's just talking about shit on the floor. He tells Everly that she needs to go back to the island. He doesn't know what he is searching for, but once he finds it, he will return to her. That is when they smell smoke. It is coming from the cargo where the hijackers are being held. It seems it was just some fabric that was set on fire. With all the smoke, they are evacuating Mikhail and his men, along with some civilians. During the chaos, Afranshi cuts Mikhail and his men free and gives them a knife. They then head to their boat, which is docked on the side, and takes off. Afranshi helps put out the fire, and it takes the crew a while to realize that the hijackers got away. One of the crew members wanted the address of where he would be staying in Hong Kong in case the police have any questions. He gave them an address to a hotel and a pamphlet, even though he has no destination. He and Everly look out at the giant bustling city as they approach. They wonder why their island is isolated from the rest of the world. One person notes the pollution in the air. He thinks if this is what society is, it is no wonder someone would want a life away from this. He sees that protecting that kind of lifestyle is probably the best thing. The young man tells Everly why he is really leaving. He says it is because of the sound inside of him. He says the sound of the universe resonates in his memories. As they reach the island, they are met with a well-dressed woman who leads them to a fancy car. Everly doesn't know what is going on. They navigate through the city and notice how filthy it is. There are gasoline-powered bikes throughout the city which Afranshi hasn't seen before. A gang of bikes try to overtake the car. The driver was able to take care of two of them. Stones begin pelting the limo. It is children. The lady suggests not looking outside. She keeps reassuring them that they are almost there. He has never experienced humanity being so impoverished before. Afranshi and Everly are overwhelmed and cry from sadness. They make it to a place where they meet Bam Segan. He knows the two's names. They wonder if this is because of Truth Stronger. Bam asks Afranshi if he ever thought that maybe someone was watching his every move while on the island. Bam wonders if he is really willing to abandon Everly to head into space, as he doesn't want him to go. But once Afranshi is determined, there is no stopping him. Tickets into space are for the privileged class, but there are forced immigration shuttles that they can probably use. In space, many are subjugated by the manhunters, or manhunt. Bam wonders why he would want to leave his island for that. He mentions that Truth Stronger said the experimental zones. Afranshi wonders if this is referring to his islands. Bam wonders if he thought anything was quite unnatural, but Afranshi has nothing to compare it to. The colonies are essentially experimental environments where each one can dictate their own weather and government how they please. The Federation does the same on Earth to offer a more natural environment. He wonders how the young man will get into space. He will try to make connections or get picked up by the Earth Federation's manhunt. Bam says that this will most likely take you 10 years. Another tick goes off in Afranshi's head. Bam states that they hold a passive interest in preserving the legacy left by the forebears. The mysterious man says that he was told that someone was to come from the island, and when they do, they are to offer this building. He was never told what was intended to transpire. He takes Afranshi and Everly to another location. Some parts of the building seem dilapidated. It will be demolished soon. The driver, whose name is Miranda, leads the way. She seems different from when she was driving the limo. They take him to a room. Everly kissed Afranshi's arm. It was dark. but in the back was a machine. Baum says it is a man machine. He also calls him Cassival Rim Daikun. He doesn't get it. The man says that a shuttle comes every 3 months and leaves the room for them to use. As he leaves, he says, Sig Zeon. Afranchi looks at the man machine. It looks different from the one on the island, but it is definitely the same model. He couldn't contain his excitement. Everly is still clinging to Afranchi's arm as he stands there just gazing at the machine. The machine represents a chasm between the two, she thinks. But Afranchi thinks this is fate. He wonders if Baum was trying to get him to say Sig Zeon. He is well read, so he knows the wars of the past. As he goes to look at the machine, Everly thinks, he's going to use this machine to kill. Maybe if I kill Afranchi now, he will remain hers forever. She then thinks that this is a vile thought, but then goes, no, it seems like the right thing to do. Afranchi boots up the machine. He sees an eye. While this is going on, Everly hears a gun blast underneath her. Men begin storming the building. Baum Sagan is killed. She yells out to Afranchi, emanating her psycho waves directly toward him. He operates the machine. Everly jumps in, putting all her faith into Afranchi. To Everly, the man-machine resembles a giant Buddha's hand. The machine flies up into the clouds. Afranchi and Everly are in the Zoran Soul. The RX-110 Zoran Soul is a prototype new-type man-machine manufactured by Anaheim Electronics. This originally rolled out in UC-110 and falls into the hands of Metatron. In UC-203, where they made a refined variant. This has a Psychomu system. Weapons include a missile launcher, a beam rifle, a beam saber, long fin funnels, and the PAC-43A electrochemical gun. It seems that they are after this machine. They need to get out of there. She felt an immense force as it takes off. The panels and screen makes it seem like they're inside a television. She wonders why that man called Afranchi Cassival. Afranchi is ignoring Everly as he deciphers the instruments. He gets the panoramic display up, showing the Hong Kong skyline. Afranchi dodges something. Everly thinks it is a kind of helicopter, but Afranchi says it is a Minovsky craft. She wonders how he is controlling the man-machine. Luckily, whatever that machine was, happens to retreat. Afranchi doesn't feel confident in his piloting, so he needs to get Everly back to the island. It seems that the people seem to think that man-machine pilots are some kind of pariah in this world. He flies her back to the island. Everly wonders if he will truly ever come back for her. Afranchi says, of course. You ignored her a second ago. She asks him how he could fly that machine. Afranchi tells her that he has fragments of memories from the past. He drops down on an island and gives her all the cash he has on him. She asks for one more kiss from him. As he takes off, he doesn't look back at her. He gazes at the displays of the graphics. He then says goodbye, and he takes off. Her dress billows in the wind. Now that Everly is no longer in his sights, he welcomes madness. He is able to use missiles to hit the helicopter, but it stands still. His system tells him MHA, or Maha. He searches his computer. Earth Federation Government, Police Organization, Special Investigation Section 13, commonly referred to as Manhunt Bureau, abbreviated MHA. With this, he is able to find a launch site and tries to pursue it to go into space. He wonders if this machine can even make it into space. He is able to outpace the helicopters. Afranchi decides to destroy the launch site. When he makes it to the location, he finds the crew and tells them to take this machine into space. It is a 3-stage shuttle, and they can't add this machine this close to launch. Afranchi says then don't use the final stage, and use the first 2 just to get to geosynchronous orbit. He threatens to rip apart the shuttle if they don't listen. This gives him an unsettling feeling. Afranchi holds the shuttle hostage as he demands that they get his man-machine into space. They tell him the best way to do that is to detach the booster, remove the shuttle, and add his man-machine. That is when Miranda, Baum's assistant and driver, holds a gun demanding they send him into space. She says they are Neo-Zeon and they won't back down. The captain requests the control tower detach the cargo. He notes that the Zoran Soul still uses arm rakers. The digital displays, the interface that makes the machine fly, the graphics providing the data. All this is something Afranchi never grew up learning, so why is it coming easy for him? He then has an existential crisis within himself. Why is he stealing a shuttle and breaking the laws, he wonders. But he recognizes the paradox of a broken world, one he couldn't grasp if he continued existence on his small island. He attaches the man-machine to the booster and gets into the shuttle, where he is met with Miranda and soldiers. He hears one whisper, Sig Zeon. He then hears Miranda talk about heading to Side 2. Afranchi gets into a normal suit and Miranda gives him a gun. He aims the gun at the pilots as they can't get uncomfortable around them. While prepping for launch, Afranchi gets a moment of fear of leaving Everly behind. The shuttle takes off. When you use a mass driver system, it effectively looks like a ramp that flings you into space. If you think about it, it's just the greatest dolly ever. Suck it, Homer Simpson in the Springfield Gorge. Anyways, that's my TED Talk on mass driver systems. Afranchi experiences the layers of atmosphere try to tear apart the shuttle until it finally goes quiet and everything begins floating. Miranda tells the pilot it is time to change course. She wants to head to the shoal zone that was once Side 4. This was written before F-91, so the frontier colonies weren't a thing yet. Afranchi has never heard of the term shoal zone before. Out in space, Everly is far from Afranchi's mind. While traveling, they encounter some debris. Afranchi uses some bird lime to seal the leak in the hull of the ship. Later, Miranda is passed out while Afranchi watches the pilots. The co-pilot says, "Hey, can I change my urine bag? How much urine does a urine bag hold, I wonder?" He tells him no. After some silence, Afranchi notices something moving in the panels. He demands to know what that is. That is when Miranda wakes up and says the party has arrived. As the shuttle docks with them, on the comm, someone comes in and says, "Your Excellency, Shar Aznable." Afranchi responded to it as though it was his name. He struggles to float in 0G. They bring him onto what appears to be a mining ship of the sorts. The men on board salute him, but Miranda says that it is too early and he isn't fully awake yet. They knock out the pilots and depart from the shuttle. For Miranda, it is though Shar is standing right next to her. She shows him a picture of Shar Aznable from the history books. She doesn't want to provide answers to him at the moment, as she is unaware how much she knows about Zeon. He goes, "Why do people keep forgetting I'm an island boy? I don't know nothing." She says that he is Shar himself. The Spacius is a mineral transport vessel. It appears like a tugboat carrying orbs of cargo. This is how they are able to hide Afranchi's man-machine. He is still struggling to float around the ship without bumping into everything. A girl in jeans and a braid comes in the dining hall. It is Krishna Pandit. Others begin pouring in. He is introduced to Madras Karya, the captain of the Spacius. I think it's supposed to be spacious, like in terms of space, not outer space. The navigator is named Eichen. They all begin teasing Afranchi. He heads back to the bridge where he dozes off, wondering if he will ever see Everly again. In his dreams, Everly calls out to him. But in the real world, it is Miranda calling out to him, telling him that they made it to Side 2. He sees the colony for the first time. Afranchi is dumbfounded by its size. Although you can't hear in space, he felt as though he could hear the movement of the colony as it creates artificial gravity for those within. They inform him that they are going to have to enter the colony illegally. They switch out the oxygen packs in Afranchi's normal suit. How much oxygen can an oxygen pack hold? I have questions. The helmet can also detect a vacuum and automatically throw down the visor for safety. Krishna heads out into the void of space first. They are smuggling themselves riding on the back of a shipping container. Miranda and Afranchi will stow away while Krishna smuggles them in. Miranda helps Afranchi into the container. He has a moment with the vastness of space, as this is his first spacewalk. There is a dummy hatch on the container where they could hide. It is quite cramped and they will have to hide for a few hours. After a while of silence, Afranchi pushes Miranda once again on why she is helping. She says that the late son of Zeon Daikun was someone she found quite admirable. Outside, they hear the clanking of mechanical noises. Miranda tells him how the Federation is fostering a new bureaucratic caste system rising within the colonies. She thinks this is due to racial issues, but Afranchi doesn't seem to get it. He is reminded of Gavasu's words. Some love to work, some can only laze around. Some find contentment just gazing at the sea. But that doesn't mean they're useless. The idle ones possess the art of passing the time effortlessly, a treasure for the weary. Those who watch the sea can predict the coming of the storms or fish better than any machine. Everyone is different. The world's notions that everyone should be equal is selfish and fails to appreciate these unique colors. They hear a loud bang when suddenly, light. They are welcomed by Krishna, who is smuggling them in. Afranchi gets out and sees clouds, mountains, and clear skies. He is certain this is Earth. What is going on, he wonders. The artificial landscapes of the colony would make anyone question if all of this is a dream. He is also back under gravity. They travel north to find a metropolitan city. Krishna mentions that this was one of the oldest colonies inside too, and it is kind of a giant slum. They explain artificial environments to Afranchi. The ticking noise returns. This seemed to make perfect sense to him. They enter into a factory area, and they are in 0G once again. The team meets up with Mikhail when they see a hang glider struggling due to a lack of gravity in the area. Mikhail tries to pull the pilot, but Afranchi throws him a rope to safety. His name is Urian. Afranchi gets an uneasy feeling about him. Miranda tells him to keep quiet as they don't yet know this guy. And we all know how Afranchi is just too damn genuine and might blurt something out, not realizing malice. He seemed to be a carefree young aristocrat. The captain tells him that they have business to handle, and Yule will have to depart. He says sure, and takes off. Afranchi's uneasy feeling now becomes a sense of danger. He believes this man boarded their ship on purpose. Could he be with Maha, he thinks to himself. Or perhaps just a man trying to impress Krishna. Miranda mentions that there aren't vagrants for fear of forced labor. There is social security for people, but like most systems, it is exploited. They reach a building with a sign that says Alexander Mineral Selection Industry, where they dock their ship. Even though they are still weightless, the heights of these buildings are tripping him out. Miranda tells Afranchi his senses are correct about Yule. He was eager to see who is on the bridge and is definitely scouting them out. She admits that she didn't believe in resurrections. But after seeing Afranchi, she is in awe of the Shar continuation operation. She hints at a cloning program trying to replicate a version of Shar. The Spacius continues forward. She thinks that they will have to hide the Zoran Soul as they may be compromised. Afranchi says that if the will of Shar is what he is destined to accept, then he might end up going mad. And that will conclude the first volume of Gaia Gear. We learn about Afranchi Shar's destiny, but ultimately we still know so little about this world. Much of what we see is reaction to Afranchi's circumstances, which is perfectly fine as this is the first act of a greater story. It's not like Hideo Kojima who is expositing while the credits are rolling. Someone teach that man the 3-act structure. Tomino is really emphasizing the people's desire for a monoculture. The easiest approach to that is keeping things equal but separate. It seems that many viewed the melting pot within the colonies as a failed experiment. I don't know what Tomino was smoking in the late 80s, but with the rise of nationalism, this seems to be a very poignant topic even in 2025. Next time, Afranchi will be captured by Maha. Yule will end up being a Maha spy, and we learn more about the Z organization, Metatron, and the titular Gaia Gear. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, it's hard to be a genuine person in a world full of trolls. Peace.